All good.
You set?
Yep.
All right. So, first off, the last time I caught up with you was like a very cold, rainy Carolina Rebellion last May. So, oh my God, fill me in. You guys have been road warriors since then.
Yeah. We've been on the road since on and off since April 2012. This is our longest tour, actually. We're coming up on 300 shows, and we did 300 for 15, and we'll do a lot more than that, I'm sure, on this because we're riding out to the end of the year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw more spring tour dates coming up with Virgin Mary's like after this run. What's the summer holding? Sorry, I didn't see you guys on too many of the festivals.
Oh, yeah, summer we're going to Europe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how do the festivals over there compare to the ones in the States? Like, I'm always curious about that.
Everywhere in general outside of the United States it's pretty amazing, because people aren't, it's not like radio driven and single driven. So when people come to your shows, they're really passionate about, a lot of different songs that you normally don't play. And so that's pretty cool.
So you feel like they kind of dive further into the catalog? Like
Yeah. They're way more loyal and into your whole, scope of your career. And it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Like, yeah, I've definitely heard comparisons, and so they just seem to take it just a bit more seriously. I don't know.
Well, in some of the areas,
shouldn't trash the state.
well, some of the areas, just we're spoiled here in the United States. We get a lot of entertainment, and they don't get that much over there. So when they go to a show, it's like everything for them.
Absolutely. So I mean, this year marks 15 years for the band. I mean, how you feel about the evolution? I mean, did you ever see it getting to this point?
Yeah, I always visualized having, a long career with a catalog of, records, and that was what I dreamed about, So I'm very fortunate. We're very fortunate, we're really grateful that we've been able to work all these years, it's getting really tough out there for rock and roll and just rock bands in general. So, to have a brand and to be able to go out and tour worldwide and always have a fan base is really great, no matter what is going on with us single wise or at radio or whatever.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you think rock musicians face today?
God, there's so many. Well, an ever change, technology is just moving so rapidly that every year it's like, not even every year, like every 6 months, it's like you have to reassess your plan, because it's constantly changing as far as how you want to promote your music and get out there and ways to build your, your fan base and all that. So that's the challenging part. I just recommend that you be great live because live entertainment's never going away, and be truly a great live band, not a track act, There's so many track acts now, like it used to just be pop music, but now it's trickled into big rock productions, where they're basically playing their CD through the PA while they're playing on stage. It's and most of these audiences now these days, they don't even know the difference anymore. That's why they're doing it. So I would say really work hard at your craft. It's really the bad nights when you're on stage is when you learn the most and when you become a complete artist, I feel, in my opinion, So I think that when you're always using a crutch, it doesn't make you a well-rounded, entertainer. So that's what I would encourage new bands.
Do you feel that there's more pressure now for bands to have to stay on the road a lot longer?
Yeah, really, it's like, you got to be on the road if you want to make a living at this. There's no longer these days where you drop a single and sell millions of records and go out and tour for 6 months and then you can just chill and enjoy your life. That's never been the way it's been for us. So I don't know. I mean, for some bands that, got more established in the early days when you could do that, they're doing all right. But if you're starting out new now, there's none of that left. There wasn't a single gold record by a rock artist last year.
No.
Not one.
It's funny, I was just watching the Brit Awards last night, and I know Arctic Monkeys took home the award for rock album, and he was, talking about the sludge and things that they have to kind of tread through to bring rock music back to the masses, but that it's not dead, It's like
Right.
anybody that comes out to these shows can see that it's not dead. It's definitely alive and well, but I think you're right. It's definitely in a live environment now.
Yeah, the good news is that, everybody they can access anything they want without even leaving their house. So people that, like you are going to find you, and then they're going to come out to the shows, and then you become, you have this relationship with them over the years. They stick with you if they like you. So that's the great thing. There's
So
always going to be, rock music and rock bands playing out. It's just the way you go about getting it to the people.
absolutely. So, I mean, one of the things that fascinates me the most about musicians is the ability to weave, stories and invoke emotions in such a short period of time to like tell a whole story within a song. Like,
Right.
what about that element, kind of resonates with you?
Well, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of practice, to be able to do it well, you know, and that's the discouraging thing because there's not a lot of money to make records anymore.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of money to like sit and work on songs and write and rewrite songs and make a whole body of work and get out there and represent it. You just don't have time to do that anymore because there's not the type of return coming back. So that's why I hate to say this, but the record will go away at some point because there's just it's a single driven market now. Everybody's going on to iTunes and they just buy the songs that they like. That's it. They don't buy records, you know. I mean, you see it all the time now, even in pop music. Like you have a big pop single, then they'll sell millions of singles, and then the record drops and they sell like 15,000 units. It's like,
No, most
so
people can't even list the rest of the tracks on an
right,
album at
right,
all.
yeah. So now I think it's already happening in pop music where people are just dropping singles every, new songs, but like every few months are dropping singles, and we just made an EP that we're going to be releasing in the spring that we're
Oh,
really
awesome.
excited about, but um,
What's the direction with that you
I
guys
I
went?
don't want to give it away yet, but there's
Okay.
there's definitely a theme to this EP, and
Okay.
it's if you're a Buckcherry fan, it's a must have. So it's really cool and probably one of the funnest times I've had, making, writing songs. It's just been a lot of fun.
So, do you ever think that people kind of misunderstand Buckcherry based on like what a lot of the radio singles have been? Because I mean, I know digging deeper in your catalog, like as a fan, there's a lot more
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. There's people that are just they just come because of the singles they heard over the years, and that's fine. Whatever gets them to the show, and
Yeah.
they can have fun. But there's a lot more to Buckcherry, and it's like when you find somebody who really gets it, it's really special, and sometimes it's few and far between, and then sometimes you get a whole room where everybody's like you can just feel it, you can feel the energy where everybody like every song like they really know what's up, they really get it.
Is it a challenge for you guys to craft a set list?
It's so challenging because we got to do the usual suspects. That's what
Right.
I call them, and every now and again we'll be challenged. Like we've played Sturgis like a lot, and finally the guy who runs Sturgis said, "Hey, I want you guys to do the whole 15 record," and we were like, "Okay," like we would never like just do that on our own. So we did that. I don't know if it was 2 years ago or last year, but so that was challenging and fun for us to like just do because we get, we come out here and we're out here for so long that we get like caught up in a routine, and if we're not like if somebody's not like, hey man, let's hear some of these other songs, even like we get feedback from our fans every night at meet and greets, like, oh, let's play that song, like, and so we start working on it sound check.
Nice. So I'm curious to know is there any plans like with that movie that you guys were supposed to do?
It's really a money thing, and it just got down to being a real pain in the ass, trying to get it off the ground. And
Did you ever think about crowdsourcing or like Kickstarter or anything like that?
it's been mentioned a lot of times, but at the time that was going on, the economy was really struggling. It's still struggling, but not as bad as it was, and we just thought it would be kind of lame for us to like start asking
Yeah.
our fans that we already asked to buy our records to come to our shows, to be like, hey, can you fund this movie, and because it's going to have, there's no upside for anybody. So we just didn't want to do that.
No, it makes sense. Like sometimes I do wonder that where you do see a lot of. I mean, I've seen a lot of larger bands like begging the fans for like money to donate to whatever project. I mean, usually they'll offer some kind of package with it or something. But
Right.
yeah,
I don't understand. I don't understand that, but okay.
So, I mean, how do you feel about the uprise in general of social media and like the way that fans are learning about music? I mean, now when you look out in the crowd, instead of a sea of Lakers, it's a sea of cell phones. And what does that look like from your perspective?
It's a real bummer, but it's really it's here, so you got to deal with it. I didn't know that everybody was so fucking insecure that they have to like update their lives every fucking day to the whole world of strangers. Like, I don't get that concept. I've never been on Facebook personally. Like we have Buckcherry on Facebook, but or I have a Twitter, and I do that. But you got to be very careful with it. You just I don't like to absorb anybody's like energy that I don't know, especially just negative jerk offs. So I don't know. I don't really like it. I think it's taken the whole world and it's made it a small town. Now it's a small town. Now you're like, oh, you can tell what your friend in Japan ate for breakfast, and your friend over here in Italy, and you're sitting in the United States, and it's just like everything is such a small world now. So that part I don't like about it. I mean, I never liked the vibe of a small town, everybody knowing your business, and I feel like everybody knows your business now, so it kind of sucks.
No, absolutely. I feel like a lot of the shroud of mystery has been lifted, like around. I mean, well, with anybody in general, not just rock music or anything. I mean, there used to be just a little bit of mystery that would kind of keep people wondering about things, and now like that's gone.
Yeah, no, nobody's shocked. You can't really surprise anybody anymore. Now even artists and musicians and actors are so accessible that it's really kind of diluted the whole excitement that goes along with like the mystery and the persona. It's like there's none of that anymore. It's like, this sucks.
Absolutely.
So
I was gonna ask, you're talking a lot about iTunes and digital download. Do you guys suffer from piracy, like, at all?
I mean, I'm sure there's piracy, but whatever. I mean, I feel like if somebody's like pirating your music, then they obviously want it. They want it. They want to have it because they like you. I don't think they'd do it if they didn't like you. So, eventually they'll get to the show, and we'll start a relationship.
That's the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever considered?
I mean, listen, when there were cassettes around when I was a kid, I had a very small budget, and I would go, like, my friend down the street would get all his new punk rock records, and I go down there with, my $4 cassette instead of buying a, $12 record, and I would bootleg his record, and I would get into the bands, and then I would go see them live, and so I was a true music fan, so that's what I did. I'd make compilations on cassettes. I had to,
taping off the radios.
Yeah. So
it's a great attitude.
Yeah. So I mean, there's always going to be people who buy your stuff, and there's always going to be people who just, they don't have the means, so they're going to get it some other way, but they're excited about you as an artist, and that's all that matters.
So where do you hope the next 15 years will bring the band?
Oh wow,
it's heavy.
The thing with Buckcherry is, we've kind of been the black sheep of rock and roll for like since the first time we put out a record. We're just kind of doing our own thing. We always have done our own thing. We just formulate plans and reassess our goals every year, and we're always moving forward. We're always moving towards something. We're always creating new music and new product, and that's what we're going to continue to do. We want to create a legacy of, a catalog of music and something that, when we're dead and gone, we can look back on, people can, go to those records and really enjoy them. Timeless.
So what do you hope that your legacy will be? Is there anything in particular?
I don't know. I just hope that someday people recognize this band as, what I, I'm very passionate about this band, and it's my baby, and, I want, people to look back on it and just say that was a great rock band. That's it.
Absolutely. So is there any target release time later this year for the EP?
The EP will be out in the spring.
Okay.
I'm having conversations about that very thing right now. So we're trying to get a release date and figure it out.
Nice. Well, we're definitely excited to hear it.
Yeah, it's all done. I'm excited for it to get out.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to speak with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was good. Thank you. See you guys.
It's really good to meet you.
Huh?
It's really